same size, same weight rating, and the correct year. Got a Caravan in for service and a bit of an issue with the handbrake. Now, tell me in the comments, can you see what is up with this setup? Obviously, our white cover is off, but there's something missing off of this handbrake. Got a Caravan that is going out the weekend, and the microwave, all Mark's in here. He's cleaning. So where the microwave normally goes, it's got a big hole because the original microwave wasn't working. So we've got a replacement. I've got a feeling this was from Hughes, but Dunelm do a similar microwave, and it's their 20 litre 800 watt or 700 watt. That's the 800 watt, that one. So just another way to replace your microwave in your Caravan, and that is very, 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 very similar size to what the original was. So it'll fit in there nicely and won't look out of place. Now, the reason that we have issues with the microwaves is that if you cook on there for a little bit too long, it blows them up basically. So there's not enough air gap around the microwave. If you have a look at the manufacturer's specifications, they say that there should be so much clearance all the way around the microwave, top, bottom, back, and all the rest of it. And in a Caravan, there's not enough clearance. There's just not enough clearance. There's no other way to put it. So what tends to happen is if we use the microwave and we go any more than about 2 minutes, it starts to cook itself rather than the food. So the air gaps that are around top, bottoms and sides and back just isn't enough. So any more than 2 minutes on the microwave and you're just going to start actually frying the microwave rather than the food. Some other little bits and pieces. So these tyres are out of date on this one, so we've just ordered some new tyres. I'll just try and find what the actual date is on these. Now, don't know whether you can see that little box just there. It says, if I spin my camera around a little bit, 2703. Seriously, 2703. How old are those tyres? 20 years old. Is it 20 years old? That just does not seem right at all, does it? Yet looking at the side of the tyre, there's not really any cracking up there. No major cracks on the edges, but you'll just start to see in the tread a slight cracking there. And in all honesty, for 20 years old, I don't know how they've lasted so long, so well. But I think that's probably the oldest set of tyres that I've seen for a long time, but in the best condition that I've seen in a long time as well. I don't know whether the owner had been jacking this up over the winter and taking the pressure off them and covering them, what have you. And I think the other one is the same scenario with the other one. We've got a chock at the back as the handbrake doesn't really work properly, and we'll have a look at that in a second and see why it doesn't work properly. But let's see if I can find the date on this tyre, which I can't. There is a box there somewhere, but again, they're so old, the box has worn off. But looking around the edge of the tyre, oh, there's a bit of cracking there. That's the first bit of cracking on the sidewall that I've really noticed. So but hey, they have done pretty well for 20 years old. Now your tyres absolute maximum really is 7 years, so these are sort of well over twice the maximum age, which is pretty incredible. Again, it does go to show that a little bit of maintenance with either taking the tyres off over the winter, keeping them out the sunlight, keeping pressure off them, etc., and you can prolong the life of the tyres, but it's not safe. Anything really over 7 years, it needs to have new tyres, and you're just asking for problems with that. So time for new ones. Back onto the handbrake. So we should have a gas rod here, so through that hole there and then through that hole there, we should have a gas rod. Now unfortunately we can't buy just that gas rod, we've got to buy a complete mechanism. Now there's two different types of this gas rod mechanism, and what happens is you go off the little number on the top here. So the 161S is actually the handbrake type that we'd be looking for this. So it's an Alco gas assisted handbrake assembly, and this one is a type 161. I think they do 252s, 181s and different numbers like that, but that's where, if you ever got to replace one of those handbrakes, that number there on the end is the one that is actually going to tell us what part number that handbrake will be. So what normally happens is, as you put that handbrake on, that gas assister helps the handbrake go up, and that will then apply the brakes properly onto the Caravan, whereas at the minute there's nothing to actually, apart from putting it on manually, there's no way to really apply the handbrake. So customer doesn't even know why it's gone, didn't even know it should have been there, and can't remember a part being there. So I'm not 100% sure what happened for it to have disappeared like it has. New tyres for the Caravan. That's got 20-year-old tyres that are already on there. So when you buy new Caravan tyres, there's a few things that we need to look at. One, or the big one, is obviously making sure that the size itself is correct. But then the other big important thing is so we've got the tyre size here, and then this number here is very, very important, because this is actually relating to what weight these tyres can carry. So if you have a look on the original tyres, they'll normally be sort of 99, 98 as a minimum, unless it's a twin axle, and then they'll normally be on a lot of the bigger, heavier single axles of a 102, 104 or a 100, 102. So this is going to be about the minimum sort of number. So if you just double check on your tyres, as well as say the actual size of the tyre itself, this is very important, and we need to make sure that this is correct, because this is the weight rating, and then this sort of represents that this is an 8-ply tyre, so the thickness, the amount of plies of the tyre and the weight that it can carry. So these are as important as the actual size, so you need to make sure that the correct size and the correct weight for the tyre for your Caravan. And then you want to make sure that the actual date is pretty right up to date as well. So on these are 33/23, so 33rd week of 2023. So if obviously this was a 22 or a 21 tyre, when we fit these, they're already a year, 2-3 years old. So we want to be making sure that they're as new as possible. You're never going to get a tyre that is sort of exactly the same week as you've bought them and the same year. But as long as the actual year is the same as what we are now, so it's 2023, we're halfway through. Well, we're nearly Christmas, aren't we? So we're way past halfway, but 33rd week isn't too bad. So just making sure that the tyres that then get fitted to your Caravan are correct in all three of those. So same size, same weight rating, and the correct year. So all very, very important if you're having new tyres. Well, it's a pretty blustery day this morning, and we're in an Aldis, and we've got an issue with an alarm, and basically the old sensor has just gone AWOL, it's just gone too sensitive, so it's literally just going off every half an hour. So we've got a new sensor, and what we're going to do is pair it up now. To pair up a new alarm sensor, you've got to have this little blue pokey in stick, they call it the touch key, and hopefully you can see where it goes is just up here. And what you have to basically do is return, or put the batteries into our new, make sure I've got these the right way around first, put our batteries into the new sensor first, so this is going to work. We then hold our little blue touch key into the wall, and we keep that held in, and there's a little red light that will come up on there then, and it'll just start to light up steady, and then after about 5 seconds it will start going quite rapidly, and then once it goes rapid, goes quick, there's a little button on here, so we press and release the button, and the alarm should beep. We then press the little button on the remote control, so there's a little button on the remote control, not the big one at the top, just the little one, and again the alarm should then beep. Then we stay still, and then the little red light on the receptor should go out. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold this in and test it, and it's very blinking windy and not ideal conditions to be doing this in. So hopefully just in that very top corner you can see the light flashing at the minute. So when I put this in, I'm going to hold it in, wait for that red light to be flashing rapidly. So it started to flash rapidly. Ah, there we go. Right, so I've got our fast flashing. Right, that's beeped. We now press our little button and it beeps again. Now once that stops flashing, it should be paired. There we go, so hopefully now that is paired, and now what we have to do is just test the system. So we're going to now press the big, I'm going to put this into place, make sure I've got this the right way around, I don't think I go a particular way around. So that should be in place. So what we're going to do is now actually test, get a bit more lighting, so we're now going to test the alarm. So we're going to hold the big button, and then basically you'll hear two noises, so alarm, and then there's another noise, another beep, and that indicates that we're in the test mode. So we're now going to press the button on the PIR. I didn't actually press that then. And that beep, then once we press that, it says that yeah, that sensor is connected to the system. So we'll disarm the system again, and that is basically it. So that is all now set up. So what we're going to do now is put the alarm back on test, leave it for this afternoon, and hopefully, get my fingers out the camera, hopefully that is our alarm fixed, done. So that about wraps it up for this week. Few different things there. Obviously tyres, very very important that the tyres are correct. If you're not going to use the Caravan now and you need new tyres, I'd probably say wait until next year, because again, like I said, with the age of the tyres, you'll get 2024 tyres then if you order them sort of March time next year, just before you're going to use it before the main season. It just gives you an extra year on your tyres. So something just to bear in mind. At least 6 months you're going to gain if you buy them next year rather than now, if you need your tyres to be replaced and you're not going to use the Caravan till next year. So bear that in mind. A few other little bits and bobs there, so hopefully you've enjoyed this week's video. We'll see you on Sunday's video. Thanks for watching on Mark at the Caravan Place.